Welcome to the Swing Shift with the Hudson Valley's favorite professional swing dance instructors, Linda and Chester Freeman. The Swing Shift will keep you hep to the jive on everything about swing. Swing dance was the most popular form of dance since the big band era of the 1930s and 40s, and into the rock and roll era of the 1950s. Since the 1980s, it has enjoyed a resurgence as one of the most popular forms of social dance. Join us now in the studio.
Welcome to the Swing Shift with Linda and Chester Freeman. I'm Linda.
And I'm Chester, and we're here with our special guest, Judy Pritchett. Hi, Judy.
Hi. Hi, Judy.
Hi.
So Judy is well known in the swing dance world for her website, SavoyStyle.com. When I first started dancing, and Chester and I first started dancing 12 years ago, my goodness, we went all the time to SavoyStyle.com because it was a great resource for us to find out more about the history of swing dance. It lists all the titles of movies that contain swing dance. It links to books, it links to information, and it also houses an entire dance store where you can purchase dance shoes, you can purchase dance instructional videos. So it was a tremendous resource and continues to be a tremendous resource for swing dancers today.
Cute skirts. Too.
And cute skirts, that's right. So Judy is also very well known for her longtime relationship with the legendary swing dancer, Lindy Hopper, choreographer, instructor, Frankie Manning. So Frankie Manning has been a topic of our previous shows where we've had Cynthia Millman as a guest on our show, and she worked with Frankie on his autobiography, the Frankie Manning, the Ambassador of Lindy Hop. So we are very pleased to have Judy on our show today, and in particular, we are going to be talking to Judy today about her recently released video on the Big Apple, which was a very, very popular dance. In 1937, it hit its peak, but it has continued to this day.
And that's why we're here.
That's right. So we're going to be talking about the Big Apple.
Or better yet, let's see a clip of the Big Apple. So this is a clip of some local swing dancers here in Kingston, New York, doing the Big Apple. Let's see it.
S3, the daddy said, son, come here, Judy. Says things may come, and things may go. This one thing you want to do. This is the way I cheat. This is the way I cheat. This is the way I cheat. On my way. It's time that cheat. It's time that cheat. It's time that you do it. Oh, don't need a thing. It's the place that you do. It's the place that you do. It's the place that you do it.
I just love that clip because it just shows the joy of this very, very fun dance. You don't actually need to know how to do it because there is a caller. So in this case, it was Chester. But Judy, why don't you tell us a little bit about the dance, and especially in its heyday in 1937?
You're so right. The fact that there was a caller enabled just about anyone to participate. And the caller could purposely call out moves that he knew everybody knew to help the crowd mix and get comfortable. It was so popular in 1937 that you just heard about it everywhere. You saw it everywhere. Every element of society was involved in doing this dance. There was sheet music, the very popular song hits about the Big Apple.
So sheet music, let's remind people that back in 1937 you couldn't run out to your store and get your CD or your DVD of the latest dance craze or the latest music. So what you would have is sheet music that you could take home and play on your piano.
Because
and
everybody had an upright piano in the parlor.
Right. So you have your party, instant party was the sheet music. If you had the right sheet music, you had the right party going, right?
That's good. They did have records in those days
Of course.
too, but I don't have any with me.
Exactly.
There was even some articles in the Kingston Daily Freeman from 1937, specifically Thursday evening, October 28th, 1937. And this is called Flashes of Life Sketched in Brief. And this happened in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm just going to read it. The Big Apple dance craze closed a liquor store here. Dancers in a hall over the store became so enthusiastic doing the Big Apple, the store's ceiling fell. There were no casualties among the whiskey bottles. So there you have it.
That's good.
So that really speaks to not only the tremendous popularity, but how many people were doing this that could cause an actual ceiling to fall, right? And you could see just from the clip that we, a lot of people, and this kind of massive amount of movement and the joy of it.
It's interesting that you bring that up because initially when it came out, it was seen as a young people's dance. It just very soon caught on with every element of society. I think in the process it probably became a little less raucous. Its popularity, it started being done nationally in August of 1937. By New Year's, turning into 1938, it was done in the White House for an engagement party.
Really?
Yeah, for the son of Eleanor and Franklin D. Roosevelt.
So it literally spanned the population.
Absolutely spanned the population. Everyone was included. It was very inclusive, very unifying.
And like most things, when the marketers find out about this, of course they capitalize on it. So there were outfits. There were
Right. There were Big Apple dresses. And it was used in advertising. The success and mood elevating effects of the Big Apple dance.
the mood elevating effects
Of the dance were
Okay.
capitalized on to sell a soft drink. Right? Yes. And just really everywhere you heard about the Big Apple.
Well, we have some actual Life magazine, December 20th, 1937. So you said it started in August.
That's
And
right.
so December 30th, 1937, Life magazine got a hold of this fad, and it has a wonderful feature in here, of course, a photographic feature like they always did. 1937 closes with the Big Apple, so it's the culmination of the year. And the first pictures that you see are these society dancers. I mean, these people are in gowns and in tuxedos. And then, of course, the college kids are down here at the bottom because that was a very
Plaid skirts.
collegiate thing to do. And here on the next page, we have a spread of the different steps that could be called in this dance. So, where did this start? How did this start in August of 1937?
It's really a very interesting story. And because we know it. I think there's lots of dances where we don't know in such detail how it got started, but in this case we do. It was started in an African American nightclub in Columbia, South Carolina. The name of the club was the Big Apple. That's how the dance gets its name. It has nothing to do with the name of New York City.
Okay.
That which came but much later, by the way. The dancers there were made a circle dance that they did to the currently popular swing music. And this was the time of segregation, and a group of white high school kids were passing by this nightclub, heard the music that they loved so much coming out of it, and really wanted to see what kind of dancing was going on inside. So they came up to the club and knocked on the door and asked the manager if they could come in, a man by the name of Fat Sam. And he said, "I'm sorry, I can't let you in." Which they knew. "Oh, please, we won't cause any trouble or anything." And he looked over behind him. The building that was the Big Apple nightclub had been an Orthodox Jewish synagogue before in an earlier incarnation, and had a balcony in it. And Sam looked up at the balcony and he said, all right, you can come in, but you have to stay up there in the balcony. So this group, initially of 3 boys, including Billy Spivey, went up into the balcony, watched the dance, then kept coming back, bringing their friends. More and more kids were crowding the balcony, watching their African-American neighbors, and actually same age group, doing the dance below. They went home, practiced it, and did just a wonderful job of imitating it in a way that caught on and became very, very popular throughout the country.
So they took it out and started doing it at their local dance scenes and their local dance halls.
It was done in their proms,
Okay.
their senior proms, and when after school was over, school year was over, many of these youngsters went to Myrtle Beach for the summer and continued to do it all day long in the pavilion, an outdoor pavilion at the beach, in their bare feet. There were visitors at Myrtle Beach from all over the country, and they fell in love with the dance, learned it, and took it home to their areas, and that was really how the spread began.
Okay. And so this was all this social aspect of the dance. And then as they spread and they started, were there performances? Did these same kids start actually doing formal performances of it?
Yes, what happened is that the woman who booked the acts, I forget her last name, Foster, who booked the acts at the Roxy in New York, heard about the dance craze, took a trip down to Columbia, South Carolina, held a dance contest, and got the best dancers of this dance, booked them in the Roxy for 3 weeks. And here's a picture. These were the same youngsters, including Billy Spivey, who had sat up in the balcony and learned the dance from the African-American dancers in the club. I have also a picture of what they saw from the balcony. It's just amazing, but one of them took this photograph from the balcony. This is the original Big Apple that they went home and copied.
So
So
they
So
are
it's a
down there.
circle dance.
Yeah.
Right, and so that is actually, if we want to talk about the true originators of the dance, there they are. That's the photograph of the original African Americans doing the Big Apple.
That's correct. They didn't call it the Big Apple, they just called it dancing. But the name of the club was the Big Apple.
Right, and
So
so,
the white youngsters referred to the dance as the Big Apple, what they do over at the Big Apple. That's how it got its name. Yes, and there were performances by both African American and white troops, including the youngsters who went up to the Roxy.
so they actually formed troops and went around and
That's correct.
started doing this in a
Right.
choreographed way.
In those days, many movie theaters also had live entertainment.
So they did it there as well.
Yes.
Oh. So they would do it before the show.
I don't know if it was before or after.
Or in between.
Right between 2 movies.
Remember, they used to show newsreels, shorts,
Exactly.
double features, triple
Right.
features.
Right. So, so as the social aspect of this dance spread around, and then the choreographed aspect of the dance spread around, there's a story that gets kind of inserted here about Frankie Manning himself.
Yes, that's
With
right.
this.
Frankie was in Hollywood with a troupe of dancers that he ran and choreographed for called Whitey's Lindy Hoppers. The manager of the troupe was Herbert White. He was back in the Savoy Ballroom in New York, which was the base of Whitey's Lindy Hoppers. And he wrote to Frankie about this new dance craze. I guess it hadn't hit the West Coast yet in those days. The West Coast wasn't on top of things as much as it is now. And he described the dance as he saw it at the Roxy. And he asked Frankie to choreograph a routine based on the description, and Frankie did a wonderful job. He sent choreography back to Whitey, which was used at the Savoy Ballroom, And he also used the choreography in the film Everybody Sing. It's a Judy Garland film that he was working on.
And subsequently, unfortunately, that scene was cut.
Unfortunately, yeah, Whitey went to Hollywood and complained that his dancers weren't being treated well. He suggested that there was some racial unevenness about how they were treated as compared with how Judy Garland was treated, who was also a youngster like his dancers.
Right.
So they just tore the scene out of the movie. It's a
Which
shame.
is a shame because we don't have
We
that
don't have that
footage
footage.
any longer. But we do have other footage, which is fantastic footage of a movie, which we will show a little bit later in our show, called Keep Punchin'. So we will.
And that choreography is the one that a lot of swing dancers today are recreating and performing.
Yes, yes. And in fact, Chester has a performance class, Chester's Cool Cats and Kittens, and we did a performance of the Big Apple, the Keep Punchin' choreography, which is what it's usually referred to make sure that everyone knows that's the Frankie Manning choreography. And why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it was great for me because after doing a couple of years of my own choreography, I then got to just take a break from coming up with choreography and do this existing choreography, and I learned a lot from just teaching that choreography about how, mainly I learned how I could keep things simple and still exciting.
Yes.
I didn't have to get all complicated with what I was doing. I could make it simple and direct. I think I learned that from that choreography. So why don't we?
It may be simple, but it's not easy. I've done
No,
that
it's not.
choreography.
Steps.
It's hard to learn.
Yeah.
It is, and we did, this class was an 8-week class, and so we were just meeting once a week and learning this choreography, which, is we're not, the class is made up of regular folks, so it was really exciting to do, it was fun to do, and why don't we
Take a look at it.
was just, and you can just see the energy that something like that creates. So whether it is a social Big Apple or a choreographed Big Apple, there's just always so much energy and applause and fun that, it's no doubt that, the reason why it swept the nation in 1937. And then once again through the swing dancers today, and it's so great that we can keep that alive because it's such a fun thing. And Chester, you also have the Big Apple Lindy Hoppers, which is a performance group in New York City, and it was begun by Frankie Manning, and he worked with them to develop a number of routines, including a Big Apple version that became your signature
Right.
from a troop stand-up point of view.
Right. And it's slightly different from the one you just saw and the one you'll see later, but it's still a Big Apple. It's still a circle dance, most of it.
Mm-hmm.
And can we take a look at it?
Sure. love looking at that, and I especially love looking at that because it brings back the memories of the fact that it was taking place at Frankie 95, which, if you notice the huge photographs of Frankie in the backs of that clip, in the background of where Chester and the Big Apple Lindy Hoppers were performing, that was an enormous event that took place in 2008, and a month after Frankie passed, it was to be his birthday celebration, and it still was a celebration in honor of this wonderful, wonderful man. You said there were 40 countries represented there?
40 different countries, 2,000 dancers from 40 different countries, 15 bands.
It was an amazing event. And we were certainly there among the masses, paying homage to an incredible dancer, person, Frankie Manning. So there's nothing else that we can really say about the Big Apple or show you about the Big Apple without turning to Keep Punchin', which is the film clip that survives with the Frankie Manning choreography of the Big Apple. So why don't we take a look at that?
Gentlemen, tonight Baron Skinner has a little treat in store for you. The Big Apple Contest.
So, as you're watching that, if we tried to pick out Frankie, he was the one with the biggest grin on his face. Right?
A little balder
A little
than anyone
balder,
else.
right?
And taller.
And jumping the highest at one point.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. So, you just saw 4 clips of 4 examples of the Big Apple done back in the day and just yesterday by black people, white people,
All ages.
all ages, in rural areas and in urban areas. And so there you have it. And we look forward to seeing you again.